Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's episode of Garrison Script Gaming. Today we will be doing the Gears of War 4 beta review, and I'm here with a good friend, Ninethie.
Hello there!
Right, to get us started, I assume all of you are here because you've watched or played the beta before, so obviously this is more like a podcast, if anything. First of all, Ninethie, what's your initial impressions of Gears of War 4 beta?
What I found with the Gears of War 4 beta was it played like every other Gears. It was a bit more smoother, and I think the controls really helped with that. Which is a good sign because it shows that these new developers know what they're doing and are sticking to the source material, so I give them credit for that.
Yeah, and not to mention, I think the flow of combat is just as good as it's ever been. The staple of Gears of War has to be, well, for one, the cover system and the actual combat system involved.
The cover system works the same as it has in previous games, which is also good because the system is one of those things that separates Gears from other third-person shooters.
It introduces familiarity too to previous returning gamers who have played it in before.
Yeah, definitely.
I do have a gripe though with it. It doesn't look that much improved, like graphically wise, compared to the Gears of War Ultimate Edition, which was the remake of number 1.
If you look, I mean, it's a beta. We only got to see a slim portion of the game, but if you look at the maps, you look at the detail on the maps, it's clear from that the developers put a lot of time and effort into creating these scenic backgrounds, these sceneries, these arenas for players to fight and combat on, and you gotta compliment just the amount of detail in pretty much everything. I mean, there were cardboard boxes and there were like little stones that had details in them, but overall, graphically wise, it isn't that superior to the Ultimate Edition. I can't tell whether that's because it's the Xbox One hindering it, or whether because they're just using the same engine just to whack out a new game. I'm a firm believer that if the engine is good, you might as well keep using it, but sometimes the game needs to be upped a little bit more, and I think even though it's beta, the graphics could do with a bit more of an up, because it looked and it felt a bit cartoony for me.
To be honest, they could be a bit more adventurous then, in that regards. Why not take a leap forward and not only improve the detail, but maybe the graphics? I know the Xbox One can handle the Gears of War graphics like the Ultimate Edition, but like you said, the detail on cardboard boxes and that stone, on the map dam, which we all introduced, the dam itself, it looked incredible. The scenic backdrop was absolutely amazing for the arenas.
The thing that, and I think it's the Coalition that are doing it. And if anyone knows the Coalition, or anyone from the Coalition are watching this or anything, right, sort out your water. You guys simply cannot do water.
How many games can do water?
Skyrim, for example, for its time. GTA.
Time, yeah.
To a degree, but I mean even Borderlands does water in cell shaded.
Oh, Borderlands is Borderlands.
But the Coalition, when I was looking at the water, it was coming through the walls. It was so static in its motion.
It wasn't cut correctly in the environment.
It just didn't. No, it just didn't. It felt like a really bad Photoshop prop, and I think they need to work on the water. But other than that, the design was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it wasn't impressive. Right, let's move on to the playlist that we had. We had Team Deathmatch, which is the standard Team Deathmatch, and we also had Dodgeball, which was a little more interesting. On Dodgeball, the goal is to, well, you have a finite amount of lives. You don't just come back and back. If you die, you have to wait for a person on your team, a player, or even an AI sometimes, to kill an opposing member, and once he dies, you will then come back into the game. But I think if you close the elapsed time, you will respawn naturally.
Yeah, it's basically Dodgeball with guns.
Yeah, essentially it's Dodgeball with guns. And speaking of guns, what was your impression on, well, some of the returning guns like the Lancer and Handburst? They didn't feel as powerful for me.
Guns. I mean, I guess gamers, both casual and hardcore, can agree. When you're shooting a gun, the way it feels can be transferred via the controller, and the way it sounds, and the damage it has, and the recoil it has. And these guns just felt like I was shooting a nail gun. It was the Lancer kind of had its same sound. There was like a metallic click at the end of every round or so,
It
and it
didn't
just sounded
feel as
suppressed from a
powerful.
distance. It didn't. The Hammerburst didn't either, to be fair.
When you look at previous Gears of War game and look at the Lancer, well, what do you think of a powerful, clunky gun that packs a punch? It has a chainsaw that you activate by pulling down a gear or a lever. That is still in there. The animation for that itself, you can still chainsaw opponents, but to me, it does not feel as powerful. I mean, there's nothing better than going in the new cover animation, where if you're behind cover and they're in the opposing cover, just grabbing a person, pulling them up and chainsawing them into the ground.
Yeah, I think they need new animations for the chainsaws. They've kept the exact same animations they've had since the first one. Coalition, you guys, you're new to this, I understand, but because you're new, you got to start making your mark on this. You got to start implementing new animations. Don't play it too safe.
Yeah, they should have their own. I don't want to say play style, but they should have their own mark on the games, like you just said.
Yeah, unlike 343, which completely ruined a lot of Halo's aspects. Don't do that. But yeah, a new animation wouldn't go amiss. My biggest gripe about the game, and I don't know whether you agree or not. My biggest gripe is how the characters look. I'm not talking about just
Yeah.
faces. I'm talking about everything.
They do
about
not
them from their
look.
stranded look.
They look too stranded.
No.
Like, they look stranded to me. Technology should have progressed after Gears of War 3. I'm assuming it's been about 30 years since the end of the war. They should have somewhat got back to civilization. They shouldn't be running around in stranded type clothing.
Well, it's not. The swarm, the locust, looked like smaller versions of the berserkers, and I think they played it far too safe in regards to how things looked. I mean, half the cog troops in the beta didn't even have, armor, and the ones that did, they just looked like cardboard. They didn't look like the badass bulky cog armor we're so used to from this game.
So, Ninethie, whilst you're here, why don't you give us your opinion on some of the multiplayer maps we were introduced to, such as Dam?
Yeah, I believe we were introduced to 3 Dam, which is obviously a dam. There's like a dock one where it's raining constantly, and there's a third one, which for the life of me, I cannot remember.
Yeah.
That's how well that one affected me. But Dam and the Rain one were really well designed maps. They were pretty balanced, actually, to be fair.
The weapon placements were placed evenly around the map. Not one side had an advantage. It was pretty well balanced.
As should be the thing with good old Gears of War. I think definitely balance is pretty crucial when it comes to weapon placements. I'm trying to think of what the third map was, but I just...
It was more like a city-town area, wasn't it? Like a built-up area. Dam, I played the most, actually. It was the most voted for. It just showed it was pretty well designed, pretty well made, pretty well balanced, actually. You could skirt around the enemy, do a little flanking maneuver, but each map had that aspect, and it felt good to actually play on balanced maps for a change. Because, well, we all know a few map designers who don't create the most balanced maps. 343.
No. What was I going to say? Yeah, the thing I found with Gears of War maps, especially these ones, I've never really had this as much with the other ones, but with these ones, a lot of the time, the bigger places people supposedly tended to camp was actually places you could circle around and get to pretty damn easily. So even though they were camping there, if you had a witty team or just your wits about you in general, you could easily outmaneuver them, flank them, and outcamp the campers.
Yeah, and to be honest, most maps need that these days, because as much as gameplay and games have progressed, there is always the campers that have returned. Moving on from that, what do you think about some of the new weapons? Like, was it the drop shot?
I think the drop shot is somewhat overpowered.
It's extremely hard to avoid.
It basically removes the point of cover, which is something that's integral to the Gears of War. It's always been a part of the Gears of War
the
franchise.
Cover system. Well,
so
Talk Bo's back. which is
Talk bow is back, and it doesn't feel, well, it doesn't sound like a talk bow. It kind of just like has a little spring trap mechanism.
choo choo. Very, very little. What I did find about the talk bow is obviously if you can handle it, you can handle it very well, and ultimate respect for talk bow players. You are a better talk bow player than me. I can't handle the bow at all. What?
You just can't handle the bow.
I'm not one with the bow. The boom shot's returned, as we both know. Still a OP son of a bitch. And
oh god, yeah.
Some of the grenades. I think we only introduced the fragmentation grenade and the smoke grenade. I don't think the ink grenade was actually included in the beta.
I only saw 2 grenades. Heck, there might be more grenades. Just go to what we need.
I did enjoy how you can still strap them to walls, so the unsuspected can turn the corner and it will detonate on them. Did enjoy that.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was
definitely fun.
Nothing better than setting up a trap, luring them into it. The Nasher shotgun. What kind of annoyed me is that people still somewhat jump from place to place and immediately get you killed with it.
See, this is the thing with Gears of War. The whole concept is a cover. It's a cover shooter, but then you just got people who just somehow bounce from wall to wall. Nasher bashers, that's what I call them. Bumper jumper Nasher bashers, and they just fucking devastate with it. I don't like the Nasher. I've never liked the Nasher, but you know, just me.
I haven't liked it either. It has got a reputation for the, like you said, bumper jumper Nasher jumpers, whatever you called it.
Bumper jumper Nasher bashers.
I can say I probably just butchered that completely.
You did. Bumper Nasher Jashers bumpers or something you said there. It sounded like some really bad Chinese crisps.
To be honest, you've got me craving Chinese now. I wonder if they have Chinese restaurant in Sarah's.
Probably not.
From what we've seen, the characters, well, I don't want to say fully fleshed out. By the looks of it, they're still a work in progress. Obviously, we were introduced to what looked like Marcus's son. Don't exactly know. I don't actually know the name. Do you?
Oscar? Is it Oscar?
It's something. I know his middle name's Dominic, because after Dom.
Oh well, yeah, he's not Marcus's son. No, he's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm joking, yeah, totally not Marcus's son at all.
I don't know where you get Oscar from, but yeah, well, someone put a comment down below what his name is, because we probably just butchered that as well.
He got it from Leo. That's where he got the Oscar from. That's why we haven't seen him.
Stole the Oscar from him. So, overall, what are your impressions of the beta?
I don't know, really. I don't know what to think of it. I enjoyed it, but it's not as if it's not overly an upgrade from previous titles. I mean, the graphics are a bit better, but overall, it may feel a little smoother, but it plays roughly the same, and it's basically just Gears of War. And I've always liked Gears of War anyway, but I was kind of hoping for Coalition to, I don't know, add a bit more, I suppose. I'm glad they've kept it to the source material, unlike some other companies that were made to carry on franchises and cocked it up. But I don't know, I was just kind of hoping for, I don't know, something new, something fresh. Not like Judgment or anything, but it's just the same old Gears to me.
It gave me the impression of they're sticking with what they know. They're sticking with the basis of which they were given. To me, they should have their own mark on the brand. They should step out, try something new. But overall, it was a pretty balanced beta in terms of gameplay. Multiplayer beta, probably one of the best ones I've played in a while, other than Overwatch, of course, which we will be covering in Overwatch beta. Make sure to keep your eye out for that, and if you haven't already, look at some of our character profiles for some of the Overwatch characters.
And go subscribe to Ninethie.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, that one.
Subscribe to Ninethie.
Go on, Ninethie. Yeah, Ninethie made that video.
Like and subscribe to Ninethie. Well, I think that wraps it up. We're going to include some more gameplay once we've shut up, to be blunt. And I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of Garrison Script Gaming. Stay tuned for more, and like always, like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.